My soul deserved better. I didn't know it. Your soul deserves to feel what's important to you. Your soul deserves the attention that it's here to have. Your soul is in an compass. Your intuition is in a compass. Clearing the path of confusion. Now we're in a world that at the moment can seem absolute insanity on so many levels. There's so much chaos, confusion. People are feeling very overwhelmed and frustrated, they're angry. And in some levels, many people just don't really understand what is going on. And in many ways, they're trying to get to grips with truth. They're also struggling in many ways with their own identity and how the perception of the world, the perception of so many things in society that in many ways are being shaken up and some things seem to be crumbling. So how do you navigate this path now? How do you navigate situations that are very chaotic or are very confusing and overwhelming? How do you move through a reality that has suddenly, it's almost something has happened to change your perceived reality of the world or a relationship or, something that's close to you? We all have experiences in our life that can shift our reality and change how we look at things. I know for me, some of the biggest changes were in relation for me were actually to do with my health and how, how I perceived certain people, organizations, the system. And in many ways, I woke up quite young compared to most people in relation to a lot of things that were not always as they seem. And woke up to a constructed system that made me realise that many things in society were not designed really for the greater good. And that even people within those systems who genuinely thought that they were doing the right thing and they were doing the right job and they were doing what was right could only see it from the lens and the identity they had formed about themselves, about their life, about what they were doing. And one of the biggest things that happens when we feel confused and we're overwhelmed and we feel as if there's a lot of chaos, when it's related to how it's related to something that shakes our perception. In many ways, it's related to the identity that we have formed about ourselves and the world. And when our identity becomes challenged, we can either hold on. It's almost like we're like, no, I'm holding on to this identity. I don't want to know. It's like almost you want to hold on to that perception, that belief, that way that you perceive yourself in the world, just hold on no matter what's happening. Or you can, when it's really extreme, you can go sometimes right into the dark night of the soul where you have to really face a really challenging aspect and shake that illusion. It's like a broken mirror that you look through the mirror and you see yourself and then suddenly it's broken. And then you see through that mirror different fragments of yourself and maybe look in that mirror and it may be not exactly truth in some ways because there's a shattered aspect, but it shows you how the fragments of our identity are only ideas and beliefs, how we see ourselves and how we see the world. And we are all conditioned And we all have a story, we all have programming, we all have life experiences that shape our beliefs. And we all come from different cultural, maybe spiritual, religious backgrounds. We also have certain, even political, or maybe being brought up with parents, grandparents that had certain political ideology. There's so many facets to us all, and in many ways, quite complex. So when you are navigating and you're trying to clear any path of confusion, you have to remove yourself from that chaos and the confusion, the external world in some way. And not from a narcissistic or a neurotic perspective, but going inward and asking for guidance and getting into daily meditation, making meditation a really important, fundamental and foundational aspect of your life, helps you have that quiet time where you are in many ways detaching and removing yourself from certain dialogue, the external dialogue, the certain programming, the certain stories that other people believe is truth or that is getting pushed upon us. You go inward and you give yourself space, breathing space, mind space, heart and soul space. Because one of the biggest things, I've been meditating for well over 30 years. And one of the things that struck me when I started studying meditation, well, there was a couple of things. When I studied meditation, I realised that meditation was not just something that you taught, just, you've done a lot of course and you taught it. I didn't even start teaching meditation until I'd been meditating for about 10 years, but I also never really even called myself a meditation teacher, even though I did classes and things at the beginning, because I recognised that the real meditation gurus and teachers had such serenity, had discipline, and were really walking the talk to in many ways. And even though, you're doing the meditation, like a lot of things, I hadn't quite mastered a lot of things and I was evolving, just like we always evolve. What I noticed when I did classes, and I did it more from a stress management perspective and mental health perspective, but one of the things that I noticed was that most people were so distracted, so busy, and so focused on the egoic material world that they had found it very, very difficult to switch off. They found it very difficult to be disciplined, and they found it very difficult to connect with their intuition and what I would call soul connection, your God connection. And I think what surprised me at the time, I was a bit naive. I'd been someone that had a lot of medical challenges and had it was a mixture of injury, physical injury and medical injury and medical harm. And there's a lot of rare things which impacted things like my breathing, my immune system, my nervous system. And I had a whole challenge of not just getting through my life and trying to function, but I also dealt with also a lot of discrimination in things where people made a lot of presumptions, first of all, about leaving medical professions until lots of things would come out. And so that included I was losing my sight in one eye and nobody would believe me. And then it turned out I actually had a hole in my eye. I got gaslighted so much. When you're getting gaslighted by the people around you, by a system, by lots of things, that can really impact you psychologically. And I was so grateful that I had learned I went into stress management and I really studied lots of things and I did meditation because it helps me switch off from that external world that was trying to project a story onto me. and other people who had these opinions when they were only opinions, they were not truth. But also, it helped me switch off from my own thoughts and my own self-worth issues and self-destruction, because we all have things we think about ourselves that are not true. We all take on things that are other people's stuff and projections, and that can be everything from people trying to do naturally what we think's best for you, and trying to tell you what to do and show you what to do. And we think they know best, but often it's their ego, and it's sometimes their own fear or their own level of control. But the reality is, we all are sovereign beings. We might not feel it. And this is one of the things that's getting challenged really at the moment. A lot of us have lived most of our life in having no access to any personal sovereignty, but in some level. But the reality is that we all have in our soul that access to our personal sovereignty. And it's really important not to allow other people to take that away and to take ownership for our sovereignty. And when you meditate and when you take more time to have peace and calm, no matter what your even religious beliefs are, when you take time to remove yourself from the noisy world and your own inner dialogue, which is often other people's stories and your own trauma, your own wounds, and your own way of seeing situations, from everything to things that happened in your life, relationships, all sorts of things. When you remove yourself from those stories, those narratives, and you give yourself space and stillness and calm and get into your heart, things shift. You see the world differently. You see you're in that state of calm and nervous system. And the more, and then you take it a whole new level. If you take the meditation to a whole new level, you get more soul connected and God connected. There's different to me. There's, I do things in stages often with clients for different reasons. One of the things that you notice is that people become more guided intuitively, more guided by that connection, get the nudges, and are not easily hijacked by other people's programming. Of course, we all have certain things which are our vulnerabilities, where we're more likely to be hijacked, and some things we find difficult. But the reality is, the more that you can be in stillness and be calm, your mind is less likely to jump to that story, to that belief, to that trauma, or to take on other people's, because often a lot of us, we have this kind of knee-jerk reaction to things, and it can be a trigger that we keep repeating certain patterns. Me, highly empathic to such a degree that I could sense, feel people's physical pain, emotional, all sorts of things which could be quite overwhelming. That I was a really unruly empath, and sometimes it was seriously debilitating. So already, other than some of the other challenges I had, even though it could be a really powerful gift in my work, my therapy and healing work, it could also be my biggest, it could destroy me in ways because I hadn't learned to harness it. But one of the things I was so glad, at least, meditation, you slow things down and you have more awareness, and attentive more awareness of what is going to do with your energy and what is also externally going on with someone else. When you do things like that, when you take the time and you have that discipline, when you are not as attached to an outcome, because the more that you meditate and the more that you get into these things, the ego starts to dissolve to a certain degree, and you let go of attachment to certain outcomes, or let go of an attachment to how it should be or how the world should be and things. I'm not saying that suddenly becomes perfect and we're all like saints or anything like that. That's not what I mean. But we become more conscious and we deal with things a lot better. Now, you become more mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually strong. But one of the things that I think at the moment when there is so much going on, people are really struggling with truth. And I'll give you, for example, I come from a family of men. We're very, very different. We all have different ideology. In one situation, we can all experience that situation completely different and see it and notice things. And some people think they're aware in the family and think that they notice things and they're very whatever. And, maybe the rest of us have a different opinion and they see things one way, and that's families. One of the things that I notice is that as individuals, we all carry baggage. We all carry trauma. We all carry hurt, wounding in our way that we have learned to function in the world. And we all have fixed ideas. And the reality is, in the human, we often all want to be right. But one of my friend's mum always used to say, there's that person's truth, there's that person's truth, and you're somewhere in the middle. So if you've got, what do you call it, if there's, 9 in the family, or that's children, so adults 11, and they all see things differently. That gives you an example of what is truth. We have to navigate our own path in the world, no matter, how good your relationship is with your partner, your wife, your husband, your mother, your father, your siblings, your children. Your life path, your spiritual path is yours. And you're the only one that is on that path. You may have other people that accompany the path, but your individual path, so it's like we're all going on a journey, and some of us might be going on a similar journey. But those footsteps, that actual specific path is only yours. And you have to find your own way. Yes, of course, other people can help you along the path. And I'm so grateful for the people that are, for example, we have some truth speakers, we have people that are helping people, tap in to so many aspects of themselves. There's, we're seeing so many people in society at the moment. I've seen this particularly really step up in the last 6 years, where people are starting to really own and fulfill their purpose and their mission and a really important time being on earth at the moment. And that involves, having a lot of courage and strength. But when you're in your mission, when you're totally in alignment, it doesn't. Courage and strength comes so much easier because it just feels you need to do it. There's no question about it. But the reality is that other people can help us and share information. And I know a lot of people are starting to wake up to a lot of things that they didn't wake up before. And some people thought everybody was mad that was talking about certain things. And they're starting to recognise that maybe people weren't mad, even when they appeared mad. And if you're not sure but want to, you can ask people that you think may know things, and you can ask that they share things, but you can still, it's like there's certain information we're given with things, and there's a level of discernment we all have to have. We can share what we think, opinion-wise, or with thoughts and things, but at the end of the day, every person has to find their own path. And it's the same, like even healing, the therapy and coaching industry. I kind of have to be honest, I really repel from people who kind of push that their way is the only way. This is the way, and my way is the best way. Of course, we all have, there's certain things I think are preference, and I think are easier, and I've studied many, many things because I was I had so many different types of challenges that mainstream couldn't help me, and I also had a lot of harm, even with holistic and wellbeing practitioners that were always pushing a kind of one-size-fits-all approach. And I still see a lot of these things being pushed, and many people, very naive, think that the modality is safe and effective for everyone. And It's the thing that everybody should use. But there's thousands of modalities. There's thousands of ways of. Now, I personally believe in God and I believe in connection. But I've had certain spiritual experiences and certain life experiences that changed my views and things and brought me to that connection, a deeper connection, helped me experience things that I would never have imagined. And I do things a certain way because I feel guided to do it. Now, I might change my opinion about certain things. I might find that some things I was wrong and some things are right. But I ask every day to be guided to truth. I ask to be guided by God. I ask to surrender my ego to that path and be of service. And we all only can do what we're here to do and live our life the best that we can. And it's so important that through this time to clear that path, that you recognise that your path is your path. No one else can try and force their path, their opinion, their type of modality, their tool, their ideology, their belief on you. We have to be guided in our own soul because we all have different missions. And I'll give you an example of some things that I think, and then I'm going to leave it. I remember having so many experiences where I got slighted or kind of, you could call it shunned in a way by other healers because I was not fully physically healed. Now, I was awake enough and conscious enough to understand that we all need healing in some level, right? Just because someone does not show up as having a physical like injury or physical condition or disability or being born different certain things. Just because you look normal and have never had a health condition does not mean that you are mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually healthy. If you have a trigger, if you have a window, if you get angry and you have certain challenges, if you have food addictions, alcohol addictions, certain types, even when people can have the oddest addictions, that's a dis-ease. That is some. But one of the things was I was always getting this kind of projection onto me by people. And then what I discovered through the years that a lot of these people who projected these things onto me were actually in no way walking the talk and were completely not aligned with a lot of the things that they were teaching. And it made me realise that everyone can be good at telling you things and everyone can, and that to me was so much gaslighting. I had a lot of shame around being ill and not being able to. There were some things that I managed to get through, which was incredible. And there was lots of things that I managed to recover from and get some help, and some things I hadn't. And it would take till later years to find out some, other things that I didn't realise. But we're all doing our best, right? We are all doing our best. But if you're a coach, healer, or therapist, my advice to you is someone who studied so many disciplines. And I'm not someone that just tends to, most of my training's not your 2 or 3 or 4 things or 4-day things or a couple of months. I tend to train in things quite deeply. But the reality is, always remember, no matter what you train in school or what you're already taught, is, and a lot of things are sold from a marketing perspective today to say, well, math thing's the best thing. This will do this, this, and this. It's the one technique that should learn for everything and everybody should use it. That is sold cleverly. Believe me, they're always bigger, better, more quicker, effective, whatever comes along. And there's always going to be something that's more suitable for somebody than someone else for all sorts of reasons. That can be doing with alignment, the way a person processes information they learn, the type of, for example, I've got sensory, I've got sensory processing issues, which means that, and I've had also brain smudging and other things that impact how I process and how I function, which meant lots of things like, say, for example, EFT and things like that. and other things that involved in doing certain strategies where you cross your arms, your legs. That is horrendous. You make kind of, and it triggers kind of series. It's just the brain's trying to struggle, do too many things. Now, I'm just one example where a one-size cookie for approach is actually harmful for me in many cases. So some of these things that people pushing that are safe and effective for everyone has turned out, and I could tell you some horrendous stories that happened. And then there is things that tend to be more very gentle, like in meditation, there's things, but even certain types of meditation, certain types of breathing techniques, because some structural issues really harmful and caused them to have relapses. And this is an example of where everyone is different and everyone has to find their own soul. You have to feel into what's right for you. I remember as a child, one thing I was good at, even though I was very sensitive and empathic and a bit of a people pleaser, I remember it was a bit of, I think, exasperates my parents. I jumped from job to job. I didn't have a fear of trying things. And if the job was not filling my soul and felt it was dragging me down energetically, I got something else and just moved. And, they felt it was very reckless, it was not responsible. But my heart and soul was so energetically sensitive that anything that did not feel really, if it was people that were very controlling and the environment was very, it just made me feel so ill that I knew that that was not right for my soul. My soul deserved better. I didn't know it. Your soul deserves to feel what's important to you. Your soul deserves the attention that it's here to have. Your soul is in an compass. Your intuition is in a compass. And you only really tune into that when you spend more time and space in meditation. Now, I have a variety of different types of meditation. I teach different types of meditation, different, different levels and depths of types of meditation tools that can get you into really deep meditation. I'm going to put, one of my really simple meditation tools with this video. It's a free technique that you can do just to bring more stillness into your day, even short bursts. And then I'm also going to include a link to my deep meditation and soul connection course for those of you who do want to go a bit deeper. If you are someone that is really, you're ready to take your life path, your purpose, and so much more in life that wee bit further, I do have a new membership, and it's called the Soul Empowered CEO, and it's for people that want to live more of a purpose through the business, maybe a project, or maybe even, even though there's going to be business things in it, there's going to be lots of things in it, there's going to be business and connection and marketing. It's not just about that. It's a community, a membership where we've got health, well-being, soul alignment, things to keep you on purpose, but also to build connection and support to help you on the path. Because right now, the powers to be the powers, and I'm not mean the true powers and the power of us. I mean, people that have had another agenda. There's a lot of things happening that is designed at the moment to try and take people out of sovereign power and to help to get people feel deflated and feel powerless when we are powerful. But when we're divided, we're not any use. And we start fighting amongst each other, and no matter if that's your partner, your family, or whatever, the more that we're divided, we can literally destroy each other. We're not used, but when we grow together, when we work together and we start building bridges, and that's so important, and that's part of this new community. And if you want to learn more, I'm going to put the link in this video. But remember, this path that we're all living is a personal one in many ways, right? And no matter what other people are telling you, no matter what other people are trying to say is right or wrong, yes, one of the things I would say, have an open mind. Because part of their awakening process and part of what is going on at the moment is people having to open the reality and it's not, I don't mean question your identity more, but actually recognise where your beliefs have been formed just because you've formed an identity around a belief. And when we are so attached to certain ideologies and beliefs that's what's going on in the world, we actually miss so much and we put the snooze button. We need to wake up because when you wake up, you have so much energy. The more awake you are, the more clear you are, the more spacious they are, the more that you bring in light, the more powerful you are. The more that you keep snoozing, the more that you keep hiding yourself under the covers and don't want to know or want to just stay in a little cocoon and be what you try and make the world what you want it to be, or your beliefs what you want it to be, you don't move forward. Okay. So to clear that path, get less attached, get into daily meditation, and start to trust yourself more. And it's like, the best thing any coach, healer, or therapist can do for any client is help them access their own intuition, their own empowerment, their own goals then. When we project onto them that we think all the time, it can be a form of disempowerment. It can sabotage that aspect of them. And I learned through my life that many people who thought they were intuitive and they thought they knew best and they projected all it was projections, it was just projections, it was their perspective, it was their story, it was their belief, it was their ideology. Your path is your path. Enter it with an open mind and a less attached mind that asks for that clarity. Okay, and make sure you check out the resources under this video. And just remember that even though we're all in one path, there is so many people out there that love you more than that sometimes you think and think about you more than what you think they do. And no matter how hard it is and it feels, it's important to reach out and ask for help and get the help you need it. And that is one of the reasons that I've basically created the online community. Now it is just in the beginning stages. So, but look, there's lots of going to come about helping build community, building up support so that we can all live our purpose. We can all create that new world and we do it together. We help create communities. We help create better structures and structures that are about humanity and for the better of humanity. Okay, have a wonderful day, everyone.